Cloud Ruler Temple to deliver the Great Welkin Stone when we walk in on a disagreement.
The risk is too great. But there is no other way. We have no choice.
Martin believes the final ingredient to his recipe is the Great Sigil Stone.
Great Sigil Stones are the anchors of great gates.
The kind of gate that the Mythic Dawn used to release their war machine on Kvatch in their quest to destroy the Septim Heir. And now that he resides in Cloud Ruler Temple, they've attempted another siege just down the hill. So far they have not been successful, but to be able to retrieve this artifact, we need to allow them to launch their full-scale attack, which requires them to open a few lesser gates before they can even open the main one.
A diversion.
Joffrey is quite concerned about putting both our future Emperor and our allies at risk, but Martin insists this is the only way forward, so we're gonna do a couple things to prepare. First things first, the man leading us needs to suit up. If he's still in his robes and not in this art piece, then you may have triggered a glitch that is caused by retrieving the Great Welkin Stone before its associated quest, which causes the artifacts to be delivered out of order and leaves Martin unable to actually put on his protective armor. This will make this upcoming battle notably harder, in which case you may need to learn how to reverse pickpocket bound armor into his inventory. So, the boys are heading out to Bruma, and we have been asked to present the plan to Countess Narina Carvane in hopes that she'll join us in the chapel for a council of war.
She holds public audience in the Great Hall on weekday mornings.
Up until this point, she and her militia have kept the assault on their city at bay by constantly closing the lesser gates.
Martin would risk my whole city to gain a Great Sigil Stone?
But she is willing to hear us out.
When all is ready, I will order my men to stop closing the gates and prepare for battle.
This will be our last chance to get ready. First off, if you haven't already, completing the optional Allies for Bruma quest will provide improved soldiers to bring with us to battle. Next, and arguably the most important, aesthetic. I wore my full Blades getup, obviously. Choose your outfit wisely, as it will come up later, and now's a good time to make sure everything is repaired and recharged. I also made sure to have a Varla Stone, Welkin Stones, and a few more magical abilities.
I'm ready for battle when you are, champion. So be it.
Upon giving the go-ahead to the Countess, she will tell her men to stop closing the gates and will march upon the plain.
Huzzah for the Emperor!
Soldiers of Cyrodiil, the Empire will stand or fall by what we do here today. Do you stand with me?
Once we arrive, we will save the game. Not only can the game crash in the chaos, but if Martin dies, we'll have to try again. The battle begins with an attack from the first gate. There will be 3 Daedra per wave and 2 waves per door. A quick offense is key here. Although it's tempting to stick close to Martin to make sure he hasn't fallen, and even attempt to heal him, being in the middle of the fray has the potential for crossfire. Friendly fire is a real risk here, as hitting the final blow on an ally will result in the typical bounty and infamy, so just be careful. Firing off AoE spells at a new group of Daedra as soon as they exit a gate will help to thin out the herd faster and avoid collateral damage. Once I really got in there, my shorter weapon and even my Claymore's precision strike provided attacks I could control and keep away from friends' faces. Between the two's enchantments, I found the elemental effects to be far more, well, effective than Disintegrate. Mind you, with Daedra, you'll need Frost or Shock. Although Shock apparently doesn't beat Rock here. This obviously applies to both weapons and spells, so Scrolls proved helpful given my ineptitude with destruction. Illusion, on the other hand, seemed to have little effect at level 25, but if you're at a lower level with master spells, these should prove to be more helpful to you. Protect Other and Superior Convalescence seemed helpful, but the latter was difficult to aim and used a lot of magicka. A custom Heal Other on touch would have been much more helpful here, much like the powerful heal spell required to get me through this thing. Now again, the main requirement is to keep Martin alive long enough for all 4 gates to be opened. Any damage to Martin will cease as soon as you enter the Great Gate, so just hop in as soon as you see it, and he'll be fine. Once you're in, you're greeted to 2 giant war gates opening before you to make way for a giant siege engine. Behind it, the Sigillium Sanguis is there in plain sight, but it's behind a rock wall. Have another save here. You may notice an ominous timer pop up in the corner. Yeah, that's how long it will take this massive mechanical masterpiece to make it through the portal and destroy everyone, while you sit there all comfy reloading your game. Although unlikely, if you only have a save file at a spot without enough time left to snag the Sigil Stone, you will literally be caught in a game-breaking death loop. Moving forward, we are presented with 2 clear options to go over the wall, left or right, with a pool of lava and fire cannons in between. First off, yes, you can ignore enemies as you typically would, and adding invisibility makes this process a lot smoother. Having to move up these towers, attracting enemies, avoiding obstacles, it takes time, but it's still doable. But if you don't want to go over it, you can go under it. A faster alternative is actually to follow along the west bank, dodging fireballs and lava, until you come to the tunnel. Drop down, and if you head north, you'll make it to the closer tower, possibly without even triggering any traps. Don't forget to head past this door, all the way to the top to pull the lever. This will open the gates on the bridge, blocking your way to the Sigil Keep. And yes, I did try to jump around. Head straight back and through the door, and go up. Watch out! These get me every time. Turn left here and just ignore the other paths. They exist solely to waste your time. Now it's just straight up and... oh! Here's the Sigil Keeper. I'll take that. All that's left is to beeline for the Great Sigil Stone, although I still took a minute to snag some loot. As the world dissolves, we find ourselves kicked out under a destroyed death machine. That is also powered by its own Sigil Stone. So cool. Okay, as far as I understand, doing the whole save before you grab the Sigil Stone and reload for different effects will still work here on both of them. But I didn't try that myself, but you can give that a shot. Surveying the scene, we now know how many people we've lost. Ooh. Walking away with all that I have left of Barris, it is time to hand Martin the last artifact so he can prepare for the ritual to Mankar Camoran's paradise. Now for the surprise. Remember how I told you to check your fit before heading out into battle? Well, it's about to go down in the history books of this playthrough. After the Battle of Bruma, your deeds will be commemorated with a statue just inside the north entrance of the city. If you don't see it yet, it's triggered by coming into close proximity with Martin after handing over the Great Sigil Stone, whether at Cloud Ruler Temple or if you pass him on the road. If you change up your look before this, it can be reflected in your likeness, and these details are not actually determined by what you're wearing, but by whatever items are considered best in your inventory, including quest items. So if you need to, clear out any loot, leaving only what you want etched into stone.